You are exhausted. Not just physically, you are soul tired, bone tired. You are exhausted from the constant heavy lifting of a relationship that feels like a solo mission. Think about yesterday. Think about last week. Think about all the little things you did. You anticipated their needs before they even knew they had them. You sent that text just to check in. You rearranged your schedule, your life, your priorities, just to make things easier for them. You absorbed their bad moods. You tiptoed around their stress. You poured your vital energy into making them feel safe, loved, and understood. And what did you get in return? Silence, distance, or worse, a blank, indifferent stare that makes you feel entirely, completely invisible. You keep telling yourself a story, a very old, very dangerous story. You tell yourself, if I just love them a little harder, if I am just a little more patient, if I show them how much I care through my relentless actions, eventually they will see it. Eventually their walls will come down. Eventually they will wake up one day, look at everything I have sacrificed, and they will finally realize my value. But the days turn into weeks. The weeks turn into years. And that magical realization never comes. The epiphany you are waiting for is a ghost. It does not exist. Let me give you the brutal truth right now. A truth that is going to sting, but it is the truth that will finally set you free. Avoidants do not notice what you do for them. They simply do not see it. Your sacrifices are invisible. Your extra efforts, they do not register on their emotional radar. You are pouring your heart, your soul, your time, and your sanity into a bottomless well. And you are standing at the edge, desperately waiting to hear the splash. But there is no splash, because the well has no bottom. You operate on a system of emotional economics. In your mind, love is measured by effort. Love is measured by how much you are willing to bend, to break, to give. You believe that every act of service, every compromised boundary, every forgiven slight is a golden coin dropped into the bank of the relationship. You think you are building wealth. You think you are building equity and securing your place in their heart. But to the severely avoidant attachment style, you are spending a currency they do not even recognize. To them, your grand gestures are just background noise. Your daily sacrifices are not seen as acts of profound devotion. They are seen as your baseline. They are seen as just what you do. Or even worse, your sacrifices are not seen at all. Take a deep breath and sit with that for a moment. It hurts, doesn't it? The terrifying realization that all those times you went completely out of your way meant absolutely nothing to the person you were doing it for. You thought you were speaking the universal language of love, but you are screaming in a language they are completely deaf to. You are trying to warm a cold stone by holding it tightly against your own bare chest. The stone does not feel your warmth. It only drains your heat, until you are left shivering, cold, and completely depleted. This is not a mistake on your part. You have a beautiful, giving heart, but you are applying an empathetic solution to an avoidant reality. And in the avoidant reality, your giving does not trigger gratitude. It triggers something entirely different, something hidden deep inside their nervous system. Because until you understand exactly how their brain processes your generosity, you will keep running on this endless hamster wheel of heartbreak. You will keep trying to prove your absolute worth to someone who has their eyes tightly shut. They do not value your sacrifices. They do not value your endless patience. They only value one thing, one single solitary thing. And it is the exact opposite of what you have been freely giving them. Let us talk about the economy of your relationship. Every relationship operates on an invisible system of emotional currency. How do you pay for love? How do you measure it? For you, the anxious attacher, the deeply feeling empath, the chronic exhausted giver, love is a verb. It is constant, relentless, agonizing action. You do not just love your partner. You study them. You have a PhD in their moods. You are in a constant state of hypervigilance. You notice when their text messages get slightly shorter. You notice when they take an extra hour to reply. You notice the microscopic shift in their tone of voice when they walk through the front door. You think this level of attention is romance. You think this is what it means to truly know someone. But psychologically, neurologically, this is a trauma response. Your brain is constantly scanning the environment for the threat of abandonment, and your chosen method of neutralizing that threat is to be incredibly undeniably useful, to be indispensable. So what do? You overfunction. You step in and manage their life. You anticipate their problems before they even vocalize them. You cook. You clean. You organize. You listen to their endless complaints about their day, absorbing all of their negative energy like a human sponge, leaving yourself completely drained. You become their unpaid therapist. You become their manager. You become the shock absorber for all the bumps in their life. And every single time you do one of these things, you believe you are handing them a heavy, valuable gold coin. You drop this coin into the bank of the relationship. You think to yourself, look at this coin. Look at how much it cost me to earn this for you. Look at how tired I am. Surely you must see my value now. Surely you will look at all this wealth I have given you, and you will finally love me back the way I need to be loved. But here is the devastating reality of the avoidant attachment style. They do not accept your currency. They are completely blind to it. To you, every act of service is a profound sacrifice. To them, it is just white noise. Your relentless effort is like the buzzing of a refrigerator in the background of a house. They do not notice the refrigerator keeping their food cold. They do not feel deep emotional gratitude for the machine that is constantly running. They only notice it when it stops. And even then they are not sad. They are just annoyed that the system broke down. Why are they so blind to your giving? Because of one brutal, sharp truth you have been desperately trying to ignore. They did not ask you to do it. Read that again. They did not ask you. You are overgiving, overcompromising, and over-sacrificing entirely on your own accord. You are having an intense, high-stakes relationship with your own potential while they are simply existing in the same room as you. You are essentially doing their homework for them, handing it in, and then getting angry when they do not thank you for the A grade. They never wanted to take the class in the first place. When you finally reach your breaking point, when you are sobbing on the floor, completely shattered, and you scream at them, "Do you have any idea how much I do for you? Do you know what I have sacrificed?" Look at their face. Look at their eyes. They will often look back at you with genuine cold confusion. They are not gaslighting you in that specific moment. They genuinely do not know, because their brain has literally filtered out your sacrifices. Your acts of service were never registered as acts of profound love. They were registered as your personal choice. They assume that because you do so much, it must cost you nothing. They think, well, they must just like doing laundry. They must just enjoy planning everything. Because they cannot fathom the silent, desperate agony behind your actions. Your currency means nothing in their country, but it goes even deeper than that. It is not just that your love is invisible to them. It is much, much darker. Because the tragedy is, your intense, overwhelming, sacrificing love is actually interpreted by their brain as a physical threat. Let us step away from the broken heart for a moment. Let us look deeply inside the skull. Because the tragedy of your relationship is not just a psychological mismatch. It is a biological collision. It is a silent warfare happening between two entirely different nervous systems. The human brain is above all else a survival machine. Its primary job is not to make you happy. Its primary job is to keep you alive. And deep inside the temporal lobe of the brain is a tiny almond-shaped structure. It is called the amygdala. Your amygdala is your body's built-in fire alarm. It is the threat detection center. It constantly scans the room, scans the tone of voice, scans the environment for any sign of danger. When your fire alarm goes off, when you feel insecure or terrified of abandonment, your survival strategy is to seek immediate closeness. You reach out. You cling. You try to fix things. You pour out your love to soothe your own screaming nervous system. Closeness equals safety. But the avoidant brain is wired entirely backward. To them, closeness equals danger. When you step closer to them, when you do them a massive unprompted favor, when you look deeply into their eyes and pour your absolute devotion onto them, what do you think happens in their brain? Do you think their reward centers light up with joy? Do you think they flood with oxytocin and gratitude? No, the fire alarm goes off, loudly, deafeningly. To the severely avoidant brain, intense intimacy is not a safe harbor. Intimacy is a predator. Intimacy is a trap. Your overwhelming love does not feel like a warm embrace. It feels like a physical life or death threat. Imagine a heavy, thick-weighted blanket. To you on a freezing, lonely night, that blanket is a miracle. It is comforting. It holds you tight. It grounds you and makes you feel profoundly secure. But to the avoidant partner, you are throwing that heavy, inescapable blanket over them in the middle of a scorching desert. They cannot breathe. They are suffocating under the weight of your care. Your warmth feels like a burning, suffocating heat. Your acts of service do not register as acts of love. They register as chains, invisible heavy chains being slowly wrapped around their wrists and ankles. Because in their subconscious mind, every single time you do something for them, they are losing a crucial piece of their safety. To the avoidant, safety is independence. Safety is needing no one. So when you aggressively fulfill their needs, often before they even ask you, are aggressively stripping away their independence. You are making them dependent on you. And to their amygdala, dependence is synonymous with death. It is the ultimate vulnerability. This is why you see the fight or flight response happen in real time right in your living room. You do something incredibly sweet for them. You buy them a thoughtful gift. You organize a surprise to make their life easier. And instead of smiling, they freeze. You see their eyes glaze over. You see them physically take a step back. Or, suddenly out of nowhere, they get irritable, snappy, and angry over absolutely nothing. You stand there entirely confused, deeply hurt, and you ask, "Why are you acting like this? I just made you dinner. I just tried to help you." They are not mad at the dinner. Their nervous system is desperately trying to escape the emotional entanglement that the dinner represents. They are in survival mode. They are literally fleeing from your devotion. They must push you away to turn off the blaring fire alarm in their head. They must create distance just to be able to breathe again. And you are left standing in the wreckage of your own good intentions, wondering what you did wrong. You did nothing wrong. You just triggered a core wound so deep, so ancient that they do not even understand it themselves. Let us travel back in time. Let us look at the blueprint of their mind. Because no one is born terrified of being loved. No one comes into this world naturally pulling away from a warm, comforting touch. This is a learned survival skill. This is the core wound of the avoidant attachment style. And until you understand this wound, you will always take their coldness personally. For you, the empath, the anxious attacher. Receiving love is a beautiful, deeply safe experience. When someone does something kind for you, your heart opens. You feel seen. You feel valued. You feel a profound sense of connection. But you must understand that the avoidant brain has an entirely different definition of the word receiving. To them, receiving is not a gift. Receiving is a danger. Receiving is a perfectly laid trap. Why? Because in their early formative years, love was never actually free. Love was highly conditional. It was a strict transaction. Perhaps they had caregivers who provided for them, but always with a heavy, exhausting sigh, always with a subtle, sharp reminder of the burden they were carrying. Look at what I sacrificed for you. I work my fingers to the bone for you. After all I have done for you, this is how you repay me. Do you hear those words? Those words are etched into the deepest, darkest corners of their subconscious. They learned very early on that every act of care came with invisible, unbreakable strings attached. Every favor was actually a loan with a devastatingly high emotional interest rate. So, their young, vulnerable brain created a brilliant, tragic equation to survive. The equation is this: if I accept what you do for me, what will I owe you in return? If I let you help me, how will you use this against me later? If I allow myself to rely on you, what happens when you inevitably decide to take it all away? This is exactly why your grand romantic gestures terrify them. This is why your relentless daily acts of service do not make them swoon or fall deeper in love with you. When you spend your weekend cleaning their apartment, when you surprise them with an incredibly thoughtful gift, when you bend over backward to fix a massive problem in their life, you think you are handing them a pure love letter, but their nervous system is reading an invoice. They look at your beautiful, selfless act, and they immediately feel the crushing heavy weight of emotional debt. They feel a dark, suffocating sense of obligation. The intense fear of engulfment sets in. They think, now I owe them. Now they are going to expect me to be more emotionally available. Now they are going to demand more intimacy, more of my time, more of my soul, and I do not have it to give. You are simply offering them a glass of water, but they are absolutely terrified you are going to ask for their soul in return. This is the ultimate tragedy of your dynamic. You are giving from a place of genuine, pure, desperate love. You truly do not want anything malicious in return. You just want connection. You just want them to look at you, to hold you, to say thank you. But they cannot see your pure intentions through the lens of their trauma. They only see the invisible strings. They only feel the walls of the trap closing in around them. So, they must reject the gift. they must ignore the sacrifice. They must completely compartmentalize and act like they do not even notice what you did. Because acknowledging your effort means accepting the debt. And an avoidant would rather starve to death for affection than owe you their precious independence. So, if your sacrifices do not matter, if your endless acts of devotion only trigger their deeply wired survival instincts, what do they actually want? What is the holy grail for a severely avoidant partner? You have spent years trying to crack this code. You thought it was your appearance, so you tried to look perfect. You thought it was your success, so you worked harder hoping they would finally admire you. You thought it was your absolute unwavering loyalty. You stood by them through their darkest times, their worst moods, their silent treatments, believing that your sheer endurance would win the ultimate prize of their heart. But let me brutally deconstruct this mystery for you. It is not your looks. It is not your brilliant mind. It is not your loyalty. And it is certainly not your exhausting, heartbreaking sacrifices. Are you ready for the truth? The one thing, the only thing they truly value above all else is autonomy, space, distance, the absolute undisturbed absence of expectation. To you, love is presence. Love is a merging of two souls. Love is filling the empty spaces in each other's lives with warmth and care. But to the avoidant, love is breathing room. Love is an open door that they are never forced to walk through. Their highest form of currency is not affection. It is not acts of service. It is peace. But you must understand what peace actually means in their dictionary. When an avoidant says they want peace, they do not mean a harmonious, deeply connected partnership. They mean emotional distance. They mean the right to exist in the same house as you without being required to engage with you. Imagine an empty room. Quiet. Still. Unchanging. Nothing is required of them in that room. No one is asking them about their day. No one is looking deeply into their eyes, searching for a sign of emotional depth. No one is crying because they haven't texted back. To the avoidant brain, that empty room is paradise. That emptiness is the ultimate safety. And the person they value the most is the person who allows them to stay in that room forever without ever knocking on the door. Think about the cruel irony of this. You are exhausting yourself trying to be everything to them. You want to be their lover, their best friend, their confidant, their savior. You are adding to the relationship. But they do not want your additions. They value subtraction. They value the partner who demands the least. They value the person who requires zero emotional maintenance. When you back away, when you finally give up and stop trying so hard, you might notice something terrifying. They seem happier. They seem lighter. They might even reach out to you more. Why? Because the suffocating pressure of your expectations has been lifted. The heavy blanket has been removed. You think, oh, my absence made them realize my value? No. Your absence gave them the only thing they actually wanted, space. They are not missing your acts of service. They are enjoying the relief of not having to react to them. This is the hardest pill to swallow for the anxious heart. You are offering them a feast of devotion. A massive, beautiful banquet of love, care, and attention. But they are not hungry for a feast. They are fasting. And your insistence that they sit at the table and eat is pushing them further and further away. Because in their mind, the perfect partner is not the one who cooks the feast. The perfect partner is the one who leaves them completely alone in the kitchen. Welcome to the death spiral, the sabotage cycle, the invisible agonizing loop that you and your partner have built together. It always starts with a microscopic shift, a slight change in their tone of voice, a text message that took 3 hours longer to arrive, a weekend where they seem just a little too distant staring at their phone instead of looking at you. Your anxious brain immediately detects a threat. Your internal radar screams, they are pulling away, they are leaving. And what is your survival response? You do not give them space. You do not step back. You lean in, hard. You turn the volume of your devotion all the way up to a deafening roar. You think to yourself, if I just show them how amazing I am right now, if I make their life incredibly easy, they will remember why they love me. They will stay. So you go into overdrive. You plan a perfect date. You buy their favorite snacks. You send long paragraphs of text messages explaining your feelings, hoping to spark a deep romantic realization in their heart. You are frantically trying to build a bridge over the expanding gap between you, but you need to understand how this bridge looks from their side of the chasm. When you ramp up your giving because you are terrified of losing them, They feel it. They do not feel the romance. They feel the panic. They can sense the frantic, anxious, desperate energy vibrating underneath every single thing you do. To the avoidant nervous system, your sudden burst of intense devotion does not feel like a warm hug. It feels like a trap. It feels like you are throwing a net over them. Let us be brutally honest about this dynamic. In these moments of panic, your acts of service are no longer just expressions of love. They are subconscious attempts at control. You are trying to control their feelings. You are trying to control the outcome of the relationship by being so overwhelmingly good that they cannot possibly leave you, and they know it. Their deeply wired defense mechanisms recognize the hidden agenda behind your perfectly cooked dinner. They look at your sweet gestures, and they see an ultimatum disguised as a gift. The unspoken subtext of your overgiving is screaming at them, "Look at what I am doing for you. Now validate me. Now love me back. Now reassure me that you are not going to abandon me." To a person whose core wound is the fear of being engulfed by expectations, this is their worst nightmare. Your devotion becomes their absolute suffocation. So what is their biological response? They must escape the pressure. They retreat further into their cave. The emotional walls become thicker. The silence becomes heavier. They distance themselves to survive the crushing weight of your intense focus. Which brings us to the most tragic, devastating part of the loop. When they pull further away, your panic skyrockets. The fire alarm in your brain goes from a warning beep to a full-blown shrieking siren. You are absolutely terrified now. So you give even more. You completely erase your own boundaries. You abandon your own needs. You apologize for things you did not even do just to break the ice. You sacrifice your dignity to save the connection. And the avoidant, they completely entirely shut down. They go numb. They detach from the reality of the room. They look at you with dead, empty eyes while you are weeping, begging for a single crumb of validation. They are emotionally paralyzed. In this deadly cycle, your intense, beautiful desire for closeness has become their ultimate trigger for claustrophobia. You thought your devotion was the cure, but your devotion is the very thing accelerating the disease. You are loving them so hard, you are suffocating the relationship to death. Let us talk about attraction. Real, raw, deeply rooted romantic attraction. Because there is a massive fatal flaw in your strategy. You have confused being useful with being desirable. You look at your avoidant partner. You see their messy life. You see their unresolved trauma. You see their disorganized schedule, their stress, their overflowing laundry basket, and your empathic heart bleeds for them. You roll up your sleeves and you step in. You think to yourself, I will be their peace. I will be their savior. I will fix all of this for them, and they will love me forever for saving them. But you are not their savior, and they do not want to be saved. By stepping in to fix their life, you are stepping directly into the resentment trap. When you start functioning as their unpaid therapist, when you spend hours analyzing their childhood trauma, trying to gently guide them toward healing, when you manage their calendar, remind them of their appointments, and clean up the messes they leave behind, you are making a catastrophic shift in the relationship dynamic. You are no longer their romantic partner. You have become their parent. You have become their manager. Psychologically, romantic attraction requires a horizontal dynamic. Two equal adults standing eye to eye, choosing each other. But the moment you start over-functioning, you destroy that horizontal line. The dynamic becomes vertical. You are at the top managing and fixing. They are at the bottom receiving and being managed. And here is the brutal, agonizing truth about human nature. You cannot feel burning, passionate, romantic desire for your manager, and they cannot feel visceral attraction to their parent. Will they stop you from doing all these things? No. Most of the time, they will gladly let you do it. They will let you pay the bill. They will let you fold the clothes. They will let you carry the entire emotional weight of the household. Because to the avoidant brain, practical help is convenient. It is the path of least resistance. It requires absolutely zero emotional intimacy to let someone else wash your dishes. They will take your free labor. But convenience is the absolute graveyard of romance. While they are silently accepting your help, something dark is happening beneath the surface. They are losing respect for you. Every time you bend over backward to fix a problem they created, every time you forgive an unacceptable behavior just to keep the peace, their subconscious mind registers your lack of boundaries. They see you sacrificing your own dignity to serve them, And instead of feeling gratitude, they feel a subtle creeping disdain. But it goes both ways, because you are building a mountain of resentment too. You wake up exhausted. You look at them playing video games, or staring blankly at their phone, while you are running around keeping their life from falling apart. You feel a hot, bitter anger boiling in your chest. You scream internally, "I do everything for them. Why don't they touch me? Why don't they initiate intimacy? Why don't they pursue me?" Because you have infantilized them. And every time you give them unprompted advice, you are sending a deeply insulting subconscious message. The message is, "I do not trust you to handle your own life." This triggers their deepest feelings of inadequacy. It makes them feel controlled. It makes them feel small, so they rebel. And how does an avoidant rebel against a controlling parent? They withdraw. They withhold affection. They shut you out of their internal world. They create a fortress of silence to protect whatever tiny shred of independence they have left. You thought you were building an empire together. You thought you were proving your ultimate worth as a life partner, but you just hired yourself as their unpaid intern. You were doing all the heavy lifting, while they sit back emotionally detached, watching you burn yourself to the ground. And the saddest part, they never even asked you to apply for the job. Now, we need to turn the camera around. We have spent all this time dissecting their avoidant brain. We have looked at their trauma. We have looked at their fears. But what about you? It is time to look into the healing mirror. And what you are about to see might make you incredibly uncomfortable. Because we have to talk about the dark side of your empathy. We have to talk about the hidden agenda behind your endless generosity. You tell yourself that you are giving purely out of love. You tell yourself that you are selfless, that you just have a massive, beautiful heart that wants to nurture. And while you do have a beautiful heart, that is only half of the story. Let us be brutally, painfully honest for a minute. Why are you really giving so much? Are you giving from a place of abundance because your emotional cup is overflowing? Or are you giving from a place of absolute sheer terror? Psychology has a term for what you are doing. It is called a covert contract. A covert contract is a secret, unspoken agreement that you create entirely in your own mind. The terms of the contract look like this. If I anticipate all of your needs, then you will never want to leave me. If I absorb all of your bad moods and fix your life, then you will finally give me the security and validation I am starving for. If I am perfectly useful, I will be completely unabandonable. Do you see the trap? You are not just giving a gift. You are placing a secret bet. You are trying to purchase their loyalty using your sacrifices as currency. And when they do not fulfill their end of this secret contract, a contract they never even signed, you explode with resentment. You cry, you scream, you feel profoundly used. But you cannot be used if you are secretly trying to manipulate the outcome. Yes, manipulation. It is a harsh word, but your overgiving is a form of anxious manipulation. You are trying to control their feelings for you by making yourself indispensable. You are managing your own severe anxiety by managing their life. Let us dig deeper into your nervous system. Why do you feel this overwhelming urge to be useful? Because underneath your kindness, there is a deep bleeding core wound. It is the worthiness wound. Somewhere in your past, perhaps in your own childhood, you learned a devastating lie. You learned that you are not lovable just for existing. You learned that your presence is not enough. You learned that in order to be tolerated, in order to be kept around, you have to provide a service. You believe deep down in your subconscious that you have to pay rent to stay in someone's heart. And your currency is exhaustion. Your currency is fixing. Your currency is being the good, compliant, endlessly sacrificing partner. If you stop paying rent, you are terrified you will be evicted. If you stop planning the dates, initiating the texts, and solving their problems, what is left of you? Will they still want you if you are just you? If you are resting, if you are messy, if you have needs of your own, that thought paralyzes you. So, you keep the engine running, you keep performing, you keep pouring water into their bottomless well, so you do not have to face your own terrifying emptiness. You are both acting out your childhood trauma right there in the living room. They are running away to survive the fear of being engulfed, and you are chasing them, throwing gifts and acts of service at their back to survive the fear of being abandoned. It is a perfectly matched nightmare. You are not superior to them just because your trauma response looks like caring. Your hyper-independence, your need to fix everything and not ask for help, is just as deeply wounded as their avoidance. You are giving away your power. You are giving away your dignity. You are begging for water from a stone, and you are angry at the stone for not bleeding. But you are the one holding the stone. You are the one refusing to put it down. Because putting it down means you finally have to look at your own empty hands. It is time for the hardest thing you will ever do. It is time for the silence experiment. I want you to imagine a thick, heavy rope. You have been holding one end of this rope for months, maybe even years. You have been pulling and pulling and pulling with all of your might. Your hands are blistered. Your muscles are screaming. You are trying to pull them closer to you. You are trying to pull the relationship forward. But what happens if you just let go? What happens if you drop the rope? This is the concept of radical acceptance. This is what it means to truly match their energy. And I am warning you right now, it is going to be terrifying. Because when you stop doing everything, you are going to come face to face with reality. Let us walk through exactly what this looks like. Tomorrow morning, do not send the good morning text. Do not ask them how they slept. Do not ask them about their big meeting at work. Do not plan the weekend. Do not buy the groceries they like. Do not clean up their mess. Do not initiate the deep emotional conversation about where this relationship is going. Just stop. Go completely, entirely still. For the anxious attacher, for the deeply feeling empath, this stillness is going to feel like physical torture. Your brain is going to scream at you. Your nervous system will go into severe withdrawal, just like an addict coming off a drug. You will feel a burning, frantic urge to reach out, to fix, to do something. You will stare at your phone until your eyes blur, but you must hold the line. You must sit in the agonizing discomfort, because you need to see what they will do when you are no longer managing the connection. And here is the brutal, heartbreaking truth of what will likely happen. At first, nothing. They might not even notice your silence for a few days. Remember what we talked about. They value space. To them, your sudden lack of pressure does not feel like a crisis. It feels like relief. They are finally breathing. But as the days tick by, a profound, heavy silence will settle over your life. A silence so loud it will make your ears ring. You will look at your empty phone. You will look at the empty weekend calendar. And the devastating reality will hit you like a freight train. The relationship is not moving. It is entirely stagnant. Because you were the only engine. You were the only one pouring gas into the tank. You were the only one driving the car. And the moment you took your hands off the steering wheel, the car rolled to a complete and dead stop. They are not stepping up to take the wheel. They are not panicking and chasing after you. They are just sitting in the passenger seat, staring out the window, perfectly content to go absolutely nowhere. This is the silence experiment, and its results are indisputable. It proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that you have been having a relationship with yourself. You have been sustaining a beautiful, elaborate illusion. You have been doing the heavy lifting of two people constantly convincing yourself that it was a mutual partnership. When you stop giving, the relationship essentially stops existing. There is no grand realization on their part. There is no movie moment where they wake up in a cold sweat, realizing they are losing the best thing that ever happened to them. There is just a void, a ghost town, an empty echoing room where your love used to live. This realization is going to break your heart. Let it break. Let the illusion completely shatter, because you cannot heal in the same environment that is keeping you sick. You cannot find real reciprocal love while you are desperately performing for a phantom. The silence is not a punishment. The silence is an answer. The silence is the ultimate truth, and the truth is the only thing that will finally set you free. So, here we are, at the very end of the illusion. You have run the experiment. You have seen the profound, empty silence. And right now your heart is likely shattered into a million tiny pieces. That is okay. Let it break. Because you are not just crying over a failed connection. You are grieving. You are grieving a phantom. You are grieving the relationship you so desperately wanted to exist, but never actually did. You fell in love with their potential. You fell in love with the healed version of them. The version you thought you could build with your endless sacrifices. But potential is a ghost. And you cannot build a warm home with a ghost. I want you to take a deep breath, and I want you to look at your own hands. Look at how much you were able to give. Look at the sheer terrifying power of your devotion. You survived months, maybe years, carrying the emotional weight of two entire human beings. You are not weak. You are not pathetic for loving them so hard. You are an absolute powerhouse of empathy. You possess a massive, deep, beautiful reservoir of love. The problem was never your love. The problem was never that you were too much. The problem was the container you were pouring it into. You were trying to pour an entire magnificent ocean into a thimble with a hole in the bottom, and you blamed yourself when it spilled over. It is time to stop. It is time to take your emotional currency back. I want you to imagine gathering up all those golden coins you kept dropping into their empty bank. Pick them up. Dust them off. They belong to you. I want you to think about what your life would look like if you took all of that hypervigilance, all of that intense focus, all of that relentless planning, and redirected it. What if you studied your own nervous system the way you studied theirs? What if you anticipated your own needs? What if you made your own life incredibly undeniably beautiful? You do not need to earn your space on this earth. You do not need to pay rent in someone's heart by being constantly useful. You are inherently worthy of love just for existing, just for breathing, just for being messy, tired, and profoundly human. Let them have their empty room. Let them have their cold, undisturbed peace. You do not belong in the cold. You belong in the warmth. You deserve a partner who does not flinch when you step closer. You deserve someone who looks at your massive, beautiful acts of service and brings their own devotion to meet yours. Until then, pour it all back into yourself. Become your own savior. Become your own safe harbor. Because you are the only one who will never ever run away from your own love. If this deeply resonated with your soul, if it finally gave you the words you have been searching for, leave a comment below. Tell me your story. Subscribe to the channel and keep returning to the healing mirror. We will face the reflection together. Until next time, take your power back.